Good morning. It's my pleasure to be with you and to help celebrate the 20th anniversary of the Natural Learning Initiatives Design Institute. Congratulations, a special congratulations to Robin Moore, Nilda Costco, and all of their colleagues for this achievement and for their continuing commitment and contributions to a healthy planet. As I begin this morning, I'd actually like to ask you to think about this last year, this pandemic year, and in a year in which so many people have suffered such extraordinary losses, so many challenges, and in thinking about that, I'd like you to visualize, if you can, and I hope you can, some moments in time, at a time and place, when you actually, during the year, felt some kind of solace, a sense of peace, some relaxation, some joy, perhaps even a sense of hope. And I'd like you to visualize where you were at the time when those feelings came over you. Take a look at it. Explore the sights that you're seeing, the images that you're holding, and the feelings that you have. And then, after I go through some slides to share some commentary with you, some perspectives with you, when I get to come be with you in person, more or less, at least to talk with you kind of real time, I'd like to hear, at least from a few of you, about what some of those images were and what those feelings were. So hold those thoughts and those images in your heart, and we'll come back to those in a while. Today, I will be talking with you about what I call the ecology of hope, with a special emphasis on connecting children with nature, especially in cities, consistent with our conference theme. It's an important topic, and one of the things I think you probably know is that in the past few decades, the disconnect of children from the rest of nature throughout the world has been significant, truly a worldwide issue. So in thinking about that and thinking about what I call the ecology of hope, it's my grandfather on the Charles side who first introduced the word ecology to me when I was a young child. And I spent so much time outdoors with him. It was my privilege and my honor and my delight to spend hours and hours of time outdoors with him. Most of the time, each of us was on a horse, but we were always able to have conversations. And he helped me to understand how, with the concept of ecology, that all the parts fit together within a healthy whole. And when I think about the ecology of hope, I'm looking for the many ways in which we can bring together those nourishing, healing parts that will contribute to a healthy childhood and a healthy future for children all over the world. And the word ecology actually comes, as I'm told, from the Greek word oikos, which means home. Think about that. I love that idea. So ecology has its roots in the notion of home, that the way I hold it, and I'll say more about it, that Earth is home to us all. So with that as some grounding kinds of concepts, with me getting to say them to you more or less personally for now, I'll switch now to some slides. You'll hear me make some comments as we kind of walk through the slides together, and then I'll join you at the conclusion for some conversation, and I look forward to that. So with that, I will share this screen, and here we go. So the first slide is really what we're talking about today, the ecology of hope, connecting children and nature in cities. Here you get to see my family. And my husband, Bob Samples, who died about a decade ago, our son, Stetian Samples, our one and only offspring, And then current images, actually, of me with my grandchildren, who all of us live in Vermont. We're just a short walk away from one another through the woods. And you can also see, I think in the lower left-hand corner on your screen, my grandfather, the granddad I was talking about. And in one image, he has just put my son, Bob's and my son, on a horse for the very first time. Stishan was 4 at that point. And I think, it's just illustrative of my family's commitment to helping us create a bond with other life forms. I think it really was one of the ways from some of his earliest years that helped contribute to his lifelong empathy for really all of life. I've had a lifelong commitment to the recognition, as you've already heard me say, that Earth is home to us all. It was more than 40 years ago that my husband and I created this poster during the days in which I was the founding national director for first Project Learning Tree and then Project Wild, both of which were environment education programs for teachers of kindergarten through high school children. It delights me, by the way, that we founded Learning Tree in the 70s, Wild in the 80s. I haven't been involved for maybe 30 years, and I love that they're still available to help teachers integrate ecological concepts into the mainstream of schooling, even today. So moving ahead quite a few decades, this is a publication that I actually was the lead author for and principal editor for just a couple of years ago that we're using now as a part of the work that I'm helping with. Home to Us All, How Connecting with Nature Helps Us Care for Ourselves and the Earth, is really a synthesis of current evidence that's accumulated over the last now number of decades and longer, but in recent years, we've seen such a major improvement in the quality and the quantity of the research studies, the formal and the informal, that really help us make the case for the importance of direct experiences in nature, developing a love of nature for our own health and well-being, and that literally of the earth itself. The full document is Home to Us All. The shorter document, the connecting document, is available as well, both of them free and downloadable online, so easily obtained. So I'm beginning to say, I'm among the first to say that people have been working on and worrying about the need to connect children with nature for a very long time. And this need has grown visibly more urgent in recent years. And thankfully, Richard Louve's book, Last Child in the Woods, Saving Our Children from Nature Deficit Disorder, the phrase that he coined, helped bring attention to the issue. The book, Last Child in the Woods, only one of Rich's many books, but one that certainly has literally helped to launch this worldwide movement. It was published initially in 2005, and it led directly to Rich Louve and I, with a couple of others, founding what in 2006, the Children and Nature Network, which remains a great resource for folks, even though neither Rich nor I are involved in the day-to-day work of the network today. A wonderful resource for all of us who care about connecting children with nature. So we knew from the beginning that the issue of the disconnect was worldwide, and we had this vision of children throughout the world being reconnected, and we've been working to achieve that goal ever since. And as part of the work, beginning in 2006, actually, around the same time we founded the Children and Nature Network, I was appointed to the IUCN's Commission on Education and Communication. IUCN is an international nonprofit. It was founded in 1948, and with its clear commitment to conserving, protecting wildlife and all the habitats and all the precious ecosystems of the planet. Every 4 years, the IUCN has what's called its World Conservation Congress. And so I participated in the 2008 World Congress that was held in Barcelona. And at that meeting, I convened a panel on the topic of nature deficit disorder, bringing that idea to this world assemblage with thousands and thousands of people there. And that organization works by means of resolutions, thoughtful efforts that all of the members from typically 150 to close to 200 nations around the world, they'll deliberate and then they'll pass, and sometimes not, but pass resolutions that then guide their work for the next 4 years. And in 2008, we were able to get a resolution passed that spoke to the importance of reconnecting children and nature for their health and well-being and that of the earth itself. And that was, from my perspective and what I've watched in the years since, the beginning of a subtle shift in the culture of the IUCN, the International Union for the Conservation of Nature. So as I said, their congresses are held every 4 years. In 2012, the Congress was held in Jeju, South Korea, attracting more than 10,000 participants, representing nearly 200 governments and more than 1,000 non-governmental organizations. I traveled to Jeju at that time with some optimism that at least some additional progress would be made in support of the need for a worldwide movement to reconnect children with nature. There was a CEO summit on connecting people with nature, which I was excited about and actually led to some great momentum and accomplishments. And there we launched a research agenda at that time, which was helpful in furthering both the evidence base and the recognition of the importance of all of this. And pretty significantly, there was a resolution presented for action that built on the 2008 resolution that spoke to the importance of connecting children and youth with nature. And it took this resolution took that idea, that concept, to a significant new level, that of a child's right to a healthy nature, a healthy environment. Rich Liu tells the story about that World Congress, along with many other ideas and concepts that are important that he shared, but he told that story in this edition of Sierra magazine, the Sierra Club's publication. He told the story and he quoted me as saying, "That year, 2012, struck me as a pivotal year for the IUCN, in which a groundswell began to emerge within the organization to understand that if people don't connect to nature, beginning with children, species, habitats, and ecosystems will be at increasing risk over time." Rich continued to quote me when I said this was a profound cultural shift within the organization as scientists and conservation leaders who care passionately about wildlife and might just as soon keep people out of wild areas. We're beginning to realize that people need to connect personally with nature in order to care about it. Rich then quoted from the resolution itself. The resolution was called "A Child's Right to Connect with Nature and to a Healthy Environment." The resolution begins by recognizing, and here I'm quoting, "the increasing disconnection of people, and especially children, from nature, and the adverse consequences for both healthy child development as well as responsible stewardship for nature and the environment in the future. Growing up in a healthy environment and connecting children with nature is of such a fundamental importance for both children and the conservation of nature and the protection of the environment that it should be recognized and codified internationally as a human right for children." The resolution called for the IUCN's membership to promote the inclusion of this right within the framework of the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. The resolution was passed, and those efforts with the United Nations continue. I would tell you it hasn't yet been accomplished, but that's one important of the avenues by which to really honor and acknowledge a child's right to a healthy environment. So when we think about what is it that actually has people tend to take action, how do we move from awareness to action in our daily lives. Well, I know all of you know this, but let me reinforce it, that for all of us, connecting with nature can happen in a variety of ways, emotionally, physically, intellectually, sometimes spiritually, and most often through direct experience. Positive, direct experiences in nature during childhood and role models of care for nature by someone close to the child are the two factors that contribute most to individuals choosing to take action to benefit the environment as adults. One of our speakers today, you may have heard from her already, or you will coming soon, is Dr. Louise Chawla. She, I would like to acknowledge, is one of the people who's helped us understand most clearly the importance of these role models and direct experiences in childhood for contributing to a person being likely to grow up to care for the earth. And then beyond that sense of connection, that overall people of all ages who participate in nature-based activities tend to be happier and healthier throughout their lives than those who do not. And here we can see it even in this small image that social experiences in nature foster connectedness to each other and to nature itself. One of the important things as we think about, care for the earth itself is that knowledge alone is not enough. Of course, it's important, but this idea of connecting, creating an emotional bond, is one of the most important attributes of what we're learning about what it is that contributes to our literally taking action. So this word that I consider awkward, connectedness, is one that you'll hear more and more and more about as a way to convey what is it that is at the heart of each of us choosing to act with care for the earth itself. So all of this leads to Nature for All, the IUCN's Nature for All, which is right now a global movement, a campaign to inspire a love of nature. I have the good fortune and the responsibility to serve as one of the three international co-chairs of Nature for All, launched by the International Union for the Conservation of Nature. It's founded on the knowledge that the more people experience, connect with, and share their love of nature, the more support and action there will be for its conservation. Nature for All is actually, and you can already tell by some of the comments that I've made about IUCN itself, it's unique within IUCN in that it highlights the joy that nature brings, the spiritual growth it can promote, and the ways in which it supports human health, livelihood, education, and lifelong learning, all the while it promotes a culture of conservation and care for the earth. Our goals with Nature for All, a few of them are really just to raise awareness of nature's importance, its values, and its benefits to all, to deepen understanding of the relationship between nature conservation and climate resilience in this time of climate change that we're working to do everything we can to mitigate as well as adapt to increase the number of people with empathy, care, and connectedness with nature, to inspire and to facilitate opportunities for all people throughout the world to experience and connect meaningfully with nature, to help drive policy and support action that removes barriers, whether they're cultural, socioeconomic, political, climatic, or other, so that people can safely access and enjoy nature. And not the least, to grow a cohesive community of shared commitment and action worldwide. Among the key recommendations from the Nature for All work that we're doing, the first of those touches at the heart of what we're doing in this conference, but education and childcare policies and programs that enable time outdoors in nature and experiential learning about nature in early childhood and throughout life. Also, health and elder care policies and programs that deliver the health benefits of contact with nature for all people of all ages. And again, not least, community planning and urban development policies and programs to create nature-rich cities that include parks and protected areas for the benefit of people and nature. So we know that we need nature and nature needs us. Following are a few of the ways that we can help connect people with nature. Stating again the obvious, but to reinforce them, to bring children into nature at an early age, to find and share the fun and joy in connection with nature, to use urban environments to connect with nature, and in the process to share our cultural roots, diverse heritages, and ancestry with nature. Looking specifically at cities for a moment, here are some resources from the Children and Nature Network. You can see the website listed. All of this is free and downloadable from the Children and Nature Network website. The municipal guide in the upper left is a pretty comprehensive document that shares quite a few specifics, but there are a host of resources on the Children and Nature Network website. I just highlighted the covers of 3 of those. Here are a few of the recommendations that you can see, everything from green schoolyards to parks that are easily available, to infusing nature connections after school and in summer activities, really integrating access to nature with a host of other city functions. While, in our own homes and neighborhoods where we live in the cities as well. So to think about some of the things that we can do, each of us can help to support these kinds of things. We can help support time in nature for people of all ages, but especially in those early growing years. To work to bring the life into cities in every neighborhood, whether it's from front porches to front balconies to inside the buildings, because that matters as well. To support all of the benefits to people and all of life that comes from direct contact with nature, experiences with nature, meaningful experiences with nature. To reintegrate actually our ways of being through culture with the natural world. And through all of this, to promote and do everything we can to enhance and protect and create where it does not yet exist, a child's right to nature, to a healthy nature, to a healthy environment. When I think about back to the ecology of hope, hope is an important concept that some people think, oh, that's just aspirational. It doesn't do enough. We have to do more. Well, I believe that hope actually brings us joy and is something that allows us to visualize a positive and a healthy future. But hope needs to be translated into action. So David Orr is one who's written and said that hope is a verb with its shirt sleeves rolled up, which means that hope is something that really is action exemplified. Action is hope all around us. And Rich Lube is talking these days, in addition to all the other good things he says, he's talking about imaginative hope. So I agree with both of them that hope is a verb and we need to exercise our imagination in bringing its fruits to life. I ask us all to nurture an ecology of hope, where we all recognize that we're all connected, where we each make a contribution in our own ways, where we each help to care for children, each other, whole communities, and our earth home that sustains us all. My thanks to each of you.